Hello and welcome back to Yellow Pine on City Skylines 2. My goodness, our city just continues to grow. We have ourselves some very exciting prompts that have been given to us from wonderful viewers like yourselves on Reddit. However, before we get started with that, there are 3 things I want to do in our current village. Firstly, I want to name it and provide some zones around the area. Secondly, I want to manage some of the traffic issues we are very much having. I am going to primarily do this through some public transport, the first public transport that we are going to add into this map. And thirdly, we have to sort out our waste management because our garbage centre is at maximum capacity, so we're going to see what we can do. So firstly, creating ourselves a district. Well, there's one thing I know for sure. I want this entire area to come under one name. I want it to be a village and I do not want to grow it in any other direction now. We are going to progress on from this area and start creating some new urban and suburban areas detached from here. I think the first most distinct zone that we can put in is this agriculture area right here. Here we are. Now I want it to be you guys, the community, to actually start naming our areas. So I'm going to keep it just as agriculture. However, after the voting next episode, we will have you guys name it. The next very distinct area is what we built in last episode, this new build development. Let's now take a look at these 3 little coastal villages that we have created along our river. So we've got one here, our second one right here. We also have 3 very distinct industrial areas. This one here, this other one here, and thirdly, across the railway tracks, this 3rd industrial area. You can find our commercial zone fairly central within our tile here, and it's actually significantly bigger than I thought it was going to be. These small houses that back onto the forest are also going to be in the same zone of the houses along this main road here. I think it makes sense for this whole neighborhood to also be categorized under one zone. This mishmash of junctions and roundabouts all along here are going to come under one designation as well. And then finally, the original suburban area that we started off in episode 2. And there we are, just like that, we have all of our zones. 13 zones to be precise, if I have counted correctly. And I think it provides insight to anyone looking at the map right now as to where everything in our city is currently based. But like I said, we have got generic names for every section right now, and it's down to you, the audience, to decide what every section in this village should be called. Now, I decided to put our bus depot right here by our commercial zone, where a lot of people are probably going to be wanting to either start or finish their journeys. I've placed 2 bus lanes connecting to the commercial area on the left and our industrial area on the right, so buses have a really easy route in and out of the city. I'm going to be using only the bus stop shelters with bicycle stands within this village. Although it's significantly more expensive, promoting bicycles is only going to reduce our traffic, which is in very dire need right now. We have got all the bus stops we could ever want. Now we're going to have a bus station where all or most of our journeys are going to originate from. I think a small bus station will do the job right in our commercial area here. And so now we're going to start creating some lines. For our first line, what I'm seeing is us starting at our bus station right here, us progressing all the way down through our commercial area, via our original residential section, through the new builds and up to the agricultural section here, and then to our coastal zone along here. And there we go, our first bus route is in action. We're going to make this bus line red just so it's a little bit more visible when we're looking at the map. And looking at this route highlighted, I think it actually takes us to some really useful areas. Starting off in our commercial zone, It works its way all the way through our shopping area, along this main road that feeds this whole residential zone here, all the way down to the new build development, which is where we have our only high school. And then from there, we progress down to agriculture and eventually our coastal town. And look at this, all of our buses ready to take on the route are starting to leave the depot. That is a lot of buses, and I love seeing them like start to spawn in red, showing that beautiful route that we have just created. Wow, that is a lot of buses. I don't know why they're all leaving at the same time. And to be fair, that is a lot of buses for a relatively small route, but I'm not complaining. I mean, as long as our budget isn't being broken, this should really hopefully in the long term help with our traffic. Our next route is up, and I think this one is going to go a little more central. We're going to start off at the depot. However, we're going to progress through Central 2, Central 1, our Junction District, and then finally the first industry zone. And there we go, just like that we have our second bus line. And then our third line is going to start once again in our commercial area, zip all the way through our industrial area here, and start connecting this area on this side of the main road. The next thing I'm going to do is actually upgrade our depot. We need more buses, so we're going to add an extra garage just like this. And to be honest with you, considering we've got the money, I'm going to add an additional one as well. Every garage gives us an extra 10 vehicles. Oh dear, this fire seems to be spreading quite badly. We do have a firehouse fairly nearby, so hopefully they can resolve this issue. I'm also getting this notification regarding our bus line here, saying it's a dead end. If any of you guys have any idea as to why that is being shown, then please do let me know, because I'm really confused. And I might be deceiving myself, but by the looks of it, it seems like we have less traffic notifications. Like, we still have traffic jams in some places, but generally speaking, it seems like those buses really did the job. So I'm happy with that. And finally, guys, before we get started with the episode properly, we need to sort out the fact that our landfill site has a finite amount of space, and we're going to do that with an incinerator plant. We're going to start burning our garbage. It's not ideal, but it's the best option we have right now. We can always return to it and start recycling stuff. Now, I just want to get a feel for how big this thing is going to be. I assume fairly small. So, I'm sorry, how big is this? What? Oh dear, well, this is absolutely massive. I was hoping it would be the size of the incineration plants in City Skylines 1. But this thing is going to have to go all the way over here, I think. We could have it right at the foothills. It is probably going to start polluting our poor indigenous tribe up here. How are those guys doing, by the way? They seem to be pretty happy. Our bushes with our precious berries that they're harvesting seem to be in full bloom right now, which is awesome. I would like to think, considering the direction of the wind right now, our people here on this hill are not going to be polluted too much by the incineration plant, because the wind is going to just go beyond this mountain. Like, it's not going to go up here. Hopefully, that's the plan. Fingers crossed. So we're going to draw out a dirt path just like this, and then plop down our incineration plant. And just like that, we're a big town. We got a load of money and a load more rewards. Well, this incineration plant is blooming massive. I don't think there's going to be an immense amount of traffic coming in and out of here. So if we just connect it up here, I think our garbage trucks will be able to start traveling through the industrial area under our very famous bridge here, and very, very quickly get connected to the rest of our village. But what's this? Okay, I understand. So because this thing burns through a load of garbage, I presume that means we're going to be producing energy that can then be transformed into usable energy for our people. I gather we're going to need a transformer station to actually process this. So we're just going to build ourselves a little road right here, chuck in a small transformer station, and hopefully this will resolve our issues. And as one issue is sorted out, another issue is created. It seems like we don't have enough water now, so we are going to have to build a few more water towers just here. And just like that, the issues have been resolved, which is awesome. And wow, that is a lot of garbage trucks being taken away. What are these dark ones are under? So that's a dump truck, that's a garbage truck. So I presume the garbage truck collects stuff, but the dump truck transports stuff from our landfill over to the incineration plant. That's pretty cool. Oh my goodness, it seems like our village is just experiencing problem after problem. Hopefully all of this traffic will slowly start to get resolved. And there we go, we can actually finally get started with the exciting things that I want us to do in this episode. Oh no, not again. If any of you guys remember from the last episode, the last time this tornado came, it did not touch our city. However, are we going to be as lucky this time? I really hope so. Okay, I'm just going to look away at this point, and hopefully by the time I look back again, this will have gone. On to what we are going to be building today. Well, I have been given a very in-depth and inspirational prompt from one of you guys on Reddit, and it reads like this. A rich family used to own all of the timberlands and had an estate. However, over the years, the family has fallen into degeneracy and sold off the land to commercial forestry companies. So there's a small neighborhood with one huge estate house right next to the forestry industry. I absolutely love this idea. I think it's unique, it's original, and we are going to get started with that right now. And I'm very glad to see our tornado has disappeared. And I personally think this will be the perfect area for it. I feel like the barren land around this area, all of these mountains without a single tree, really give the impression that a lot of forests have been removed from this area. However, at the same time, we do have a beautiful valley that we can have ourselves some residential area in. And I'm thinking up on this plot of land here could be where we have this great estate, where the forestry empire began, where this very wealthy family once had the great estate. And so it's time to buy some tiles. I suppose we're going to need this tile because this is where our mansion of this wealthy family are going to reside. We're going to have the surrounding mountain areas here where we're going to build some forest industry, right up to here, I think. And we're going to need this valley, which is where our people in this little village are going to live. And we're going to unlock these few tiles here as well, just so we have an access point onto the main road. And just like that, we have purchased all of these tiles here, ready to start building. Now, what better place but to start on the land that is going to belong to this very wealthy family? First things first, we're going to have to get rid of all of these trees. Now, I'm thinking to myself, we have a long, straight road that goes all the way to the property. We have a very large roundabout right at the top here with a road that comes along just like this. I feel like a great fountain just like this will be very fitting. And maybe a couple of fountains either side. I think it would be really, really cool also for us to actually use one of these unique buildings. And I think these condos here would be a very good fit. Although strictly speaking, it serves many, many different households, I think it's a great thing to consider that maybe this family that let their money get the better of them through corruption came from the fact that they entertained so many people that they needed such a large property just to host all of their guests. I just redid this a little bit with a bit of terraforming just so the land around here is a bit more smooth. I think it's also really cool, the contrast between these great slopes either side, almost like the horns of a devil from behind this mansion, overlooking the beautiful landscape that they've corrupted by performing such deforestation. And I think what would also be really cool is if we line this whole road with pine trees, giving the guests a massive illusion that this area is absolutely rich with trees, when the reality is that they have depleted most of the resources that gave them this wealth in the first place. I'm also going to use this opportunity to use the surfacing tool for the very first time. This is something we did not have in City Skylines 1, and I'm so excited to get started with it. What do you guys think? I mean, I could definitely have done a better job, but I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out for my very first creation using the surface tool. And I really feel like it gives the vibe of an area where the inhabitants are completely closed off to the outside world. Perhaps that's the reason why after generations the family sold off most of their land to the forest companies. And talking about forest companies, if there are going to have been forest companies covering this area, they needed residents. So perhaps now is the time that we should start thinking about building a neighborhood. First things first, we're gonna need an interchange, and I think this one looks pretty good for us. There we go, I think this looks pretty nice. All we need is a bit of a roundabout just like this, with a medium road coming off of it. It's not symmetrical, but again, that's what makes all of this just so realistic. I'm gonna do some resurfacing around here because I have a little bit of an idea. Just stay with me, I have an idea. You guys have to trust me with this. Now, what I'm thinking to myself here, right, is we have the main road going along here, our great manor up here, and we're going to have all of the forestry industry along the sides of this mountain. This valley has a very important role to play in this story, and that will all be revealed with another prompt that I got from you guys on Reddit that shall be revealed later. But for the time being, I feel like this little elevated area along here could really be the main residential original area that our workers first settled in when they heard from the Great Manor about the opportunities that they had. And so what that means is that I'm going to have a road that continues directly through here, acting as a bit of a tunnel. Now, this is going to be a very, very busy roundabout because we're also going to have ourselves a bit of a turnoff that comes under the ground. We're also going to try something a little wacky across here. It's going to be a simple road. However, we are going to try and get these roads to actually link underground. It's a pretty steep road, but I'm kind of liking it. I could get behind this. The only thing is that this part of the road is not wanting to work with us. So I've got another idea. How about this is purely going to be an on-ramp? All of our traffic that's wanting to go into this residential area can only come on from this junction. I think this makes a lot of sense and will hopefully result in not much backup. And then either side, we could have ourselves one of these one-way roads. Actually, firstly, we're going to have to terraform this other side as well. Stay with me. I promise you, this idea is going to pay off. There we go. And now we're going to create a bridge that goes all the way across here. It's going to be some mega infrastructure, but it's going to look so good at the end of this. I hope, at least. And then this one-way system is going to join here. The same is going to happen right here. And so what this basically means is that anyone that joins our highway are going to have to join from this up ramp here. They have a one-way system that goes either way and then follows down here onto this roundabout as an exit. I see far more flaws than benefits in this system, and to be honest with you, I have started to discover more flaws the more I look at it. And really, this does actually look like peak inefficiency. But to be honest with you, so many infrastructural projects are inefficient because you're working with ancient roads. And that is exactly what I am wanting with this area here. We are actually going to be experimenting with some EU mixed old town style apartment buildings in this zone. And what that means is these roads are going to be some of the oldest roads in our map. Most definitely older than our original little village we have developed here. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's at the beginning of our map as well. So it's almost like this very wealthy family came a long time ago and people started to move in right by the highway or whatever the highway would have been back then, with very weird roads, very precarious bridges that eventually got upgraded to these ones. In fact, to add ourselves a little bit of history, how about we have ourselves some old bridges that go across either side that provide insight into the kinds of roads that existed before all of these great 4-lane roads actually existed. And perhaps these bridges connected abandoned mills. Well, they wouldn't have been abandoned back then, but we have a couple of mills either side here. And maybe considering this terrain is so much higher than the rest of the land, relative, I mean, these mountains are way higher, but relative to this land down here, maybe we could have some castle ruins just like this as well, right next to our old abandoned roads. And maybe just for good measure, we've had this whole area cordoned off from people wanting to explore these old abandoned bridges, considering these bridges literally lead to nowhere. And so, with our very inefficient junction designed here, I think it's now time to actually start zoning in a population that are going to be working in all of these locations, working up this valley, all for the benefit at one point in time for this great family up here that have now sold off every last bit of industry they once owned. Before I do the other two, I really want to try a proof of concept here and actually see if things zone in and if people actually want to start living in this area. Now, I have learned from mistakes in the past, and that is the fact that I have not always used pavement before I start zoning things in. And I think although I have used pedestrian paths along a lot of this area, I think pavements will really improve connectivity even further. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, now with our pavement settled in, I think it's now time that we get ourselves some EU housing. Okay, so we've kind of zoned in on one side. I just want to see what happens now. Now, I do appreciate that these buildings zone in both commercial and residential, so I wonder if we actually need commercial demand before these things start to zone in. It kind of makes sense right now because we have really high low density residential demand, however no commercial, and yeah, nothing is zoning in. So maybe we're gonna just have to let the clock run and let some commercial demand actually build in. The annoying thing is that for this build, I really don't want just standard low density housing either. So I think what we should do is, whilst the simulation actually starts spawning in some commercial demand, we are going to create the rest of our two little sections down here. I just discovered this massive dip that I obviously didn't fill in whilst terraforming. I feel like it actually adds a little bit of a story to the area, so I'm going to keep it. I am going to get rid of some of these trees found in the hole, and maybe this could be a bit of history. Maybe I remember when I visited some mountains in Italy in the Dolomites, there were actually a few pits like this in the mountains from some rather sinister activities during the Second World War. Maybe we don't have to go that dark. Actually, I really don't want to go that dark, but maybe there was some historical significance to this pit at some point in time. So we're going to cordon this off with some safety barriers, just like this. They're not completely in line, but I think they'll do the job. And what makes it even more important that people don't go around here is that we have our ancient castle right here that I'm sure a lot of tourists will be wanting to visit. And our low density residential is still the only thing our city seems to want. Wow, I swear this village just gets prettier and prettier every time I look at it. It has its flaws, many flaws, but again, what good village with a bit of history and inefficiency doesn't have any flaws? I've done my research, and by the looks of it, for us to have high commercial demand, we need educated citizens, because with education, they can get better jobs, they make money, and that creates commercial demand. Now that makes a lot of sense. When we look at our elementary school capacity is below capacity. Our high school capacity is significantly below capacity. So what I think we're gonna have to do right now is actually come back to this village that I wanted to leave, and we're just going to have to do a bit of tweaking with our high school education. I firstly want to start off with this high school we have, and that's because I think we can expand and add an extra extension wing, which is going to increase our student capacity. So we're going to put an extension wing right here and another one along here. And if we can fit another one, we cannot fit another one here, but maybe we can fit another one here. My thought process on this is that all of these extension wings are connected to this side street here. And that kind of compartmentalizes everything. And hopefully that is going to promote people to actually start learning and studying and actually start earning some more money, therefore increasing our commercial demand. I also want to add a high school in here. We're still getting this warning about, I don't even know what this warning's for, but hopefully if we put a high school right here, we're not going to add any extensions in, but hopefully this will be a really good location to have our high school in. And oh no, we've got an issue with sewage, so we're just going to add another one right in here. It's going to start flooding into our farmland ever so slightly, but hopefully that's not going to be causing too many issues for us in the long run. Okay, and I think I might understand what this issue with the dead end is. If we've got bus routes going in both directions, do they mean that the buses aren't going to be able to go along both ways because of the fact that it's a one-way system? I mean, the complaints are still there. I'm going to try and upgrade these roads to two-way streets as well. And that still seems to have not caused any resolution in this. So if you guys do have any recommendations on what we can do here to fix this, then do please let me know. I also think this would be a pretty good place to have another secondary school. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm just getting ever so slightly desperate to actually start getting some commercial demand in. So if the idea is that the more educated residents you have, the more commercial demand we're going to have, then I am all for education, because I need shops for the current project we are working on. Okay, enough with this crazy village of ours. Let's go back to the project we have been working on today. So as things stand right now, we have got all of our roads mapped out, ready to be developed. We've also got ourselves this great valley prepared for forestry industry that we are going to develop. And we also began this great manor, aligning with the storyline that's been given to us from a great contributor on Reddit. I'm really annoyed that we weren't able to grow this area anymore in this episode, but we need commercial demand. We haven't got onto the second Reddit comment for this development that I am so excited to get on with. But hopefully by next episode, I will have sorted out our commercial demand and we can power through this amazing idea that's been given to me. As always, thank you so very much for following me on this journey as we grow Yellow Pine. This city is growing with your guys' input more and more every episode, so please continue to leave comments with recommendations on what you want to see next, because your input is very much appreciated. As always, I am a very small channel, a very new channel, still exploring the countless opportunities that we have with City Skylines 2. And because of that, any form of engagement, whether it's a like, comment, or subscription, will be much appreciated, and I will be forever thankful. Thank you very much once again for watching this video, and I'll see you all very, very soon.